The rich diversity of Middle-earth's inhabitants was an aspect of the lore that the team felt was integral to the game's sense of authenticity.
What's very interesting when you're building this kind of game is we're building the world, we're building all the NPCs in the world, we're putting all the monsters in the world, and it feels until you get to beta like something's missing. What's missing is really the people that are populating Middle-earth, because those people are the players. Until we have players in the game, it's almost like you're creating an environment missing the main component that isn't there yet. So, you know, obviously the population of Middle-earth in Lotro is all the players that have come to play, and everybody in Middle-earth is among the free people of Middle-earth that are trying to fight Sauron and trying to fight the Witch King and trying to hold back, you know, all the evil that's threatening this wonderful land that's been here for thousands of years, and part of a war that's kind of been going on forever. So they're part of this history. And I think what's going to be interesting is that, you know, when the players get into the game, they're going to start creating their own history.
The free peoples of Middle-earth are essentially the four races that have, over the course of Middle-earth's history, stood up to Sauron and fought back against him in one way or another. So they're men, hobbits, elves, and dwarves.
We've expanded that a little bit. While that core four are what the players are able to play, we've expanded it slightly. We've also just taken and had different races of men, which is a very Tolkien thing. And so players will be encountering them, and we tried to give them a distinct style. We have the hillmen who show up, and they have a sort of more of a tribal look, while people in Breland have a little bit more of the Tudor style housing and things like that.
We also have the hobbits. The hobbits are primarily from the Shire. You know, they're the typical standard hobbit, happy folk who would much rather be drinking, smoking pipes, and eating food than adventuring out in the countryside. The elves are primarily from Rivendell, which is their major home, of course. And of course we still have the elves that we have in Ardluin at the foot of the Blue Mountains. We also have the dwarves.
Dwarves are a race of craftsmen and miners and warriors who live beneath the mountains of Middle-earth and are constantly at war with the goblins and orcs who also live down there.
By paying close attention to the design of the equipment that the players are wearing, along with what NPCs wear and everything, you're trying to present a world, and by having such a consistent design, you are able to not do anything that detracts or takes the player out of that world. You're trying to immerse them in it. So that's what we try to accomplish with our art design.
The costume design comes from a lot of different areas, from history, definitely from kind of the Viking, Norse mythology area. Tolkien was definitely fascinated in the whole Norse Celtic folklore. And so when I'm designing a lot of the characters, you want to have rich detail, but at the same time be pretty subtle with it. The guidance I got from the Tolkien world is you definitely get a feeling of each culture that you go to. The hobbits definitely feel kind of Victorian in style. They definitely have a very unique feel to them, more proper in the way they dress. With the elves, definitely more spiritual. They talk about some of their clothing being whitish and bluish in tones, and so we definitely pay attention to those details as well. The dwarven designs, we definitely want to go the route of very Celtic. We definitely had that feeling of the geometry that the Celts used in the dwarven designs, because it's very much more masculine, and then the humans are much more utilitarian in their style.
The tricky part with clothing for players is that it's meant to be infinitely flexible. Anybody can wear anything, and unless they try really, really hard, they can't make themselves look either just terrible or, you know, completely out of place in the world. So it's making things all fit together in a way that makes sense.
The hardest thing to do probably in this game is to figure out how you're going to make somebody feel as though they're a part of Middle-earth. We have to come up with a way that you're actually making some kind of an impact on the world. So through our epic story, I think the main focus has always been finding a way to get you involved and make you feel as though you're a hero in your own right in the things that you've done.
And we've got a lot of people who want to role play this specific world and this specific story, so I imagine all kinds of player histories that are going to be intertwined with, you know, the histories that we know of the world. And then it'll begin to feel more and more like this really is the free people of Middle-earth, and there really is a war going on, and we're all in this together to fight this war.
Man and elf, hobbit and dwarf, the free peoples of Middle-earth all come to life in the Lord of the Rings Online, Shadows of Angmar.